Good morning, afternoon, and evening. So as the war between the SEC and Ripple, or XRP, carries on, new documents have been publicly disclosed, and we're going to find out if they will help or hurt Ripple's case, and more importantly, how will this affect the state of crypto as a whole. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm never going to tell you to buy, sell, hold. Do your own due diligence. Conduct your own research before getting involved in any crypto project. So Bill Hinman, the former SEC chief, in 2018 did a speech where he implied that Ethereum was not a security due to it being sufficiently decentralized. So we're going to dive into what he said, what others are thinking, and we're also going to talk about what the Howey Test is. We're going to be deep diving into what's going on here because this is a huge event in the crypto industry. And more importantly than for the Ripple or XRP case, how this will set the tone going forward. So if you're unfamiliar, the Hinman documents are a collection of internal SEC messages concerning a speech given by former SEC Director William Hinman in 2018. These documents have been at the center of attention on the ongoing SEC Ripple lawsuit. The Hinman documents relate to internal SEC messages concerning a speech given by former SEC Director William Hinman in 2018. In that speech, Hinman stated that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum may initially be classified as securities, but as they become more decentralized, can transition into something more similar to a commodity. By the way, this document came out before yesterday, June 13th, but I did feel it has some relevance to give some context. The Hinman documents may mention XRP because the SEC enforcement team was dealing with XRP and other matters around the same time Hinman's speech was being drafted and commented on. Additionally, XRP ranked number 2 or 3 in market capitalization following Bitcoin and Ethereum at that time anyway. So XRP was definitely in the forefront of the SEC's minds at the material time. The Hinman documents are important for the crypto industry because they talk about how cryptocurrencies could transition from securities to commodities. This means that the legal status of cryptocurrencies could change over time as they become more decentralized. This will have a significant impact on the future of cryptocurrency regulations. The outcome of the SEC case against Ripple could also set a legal precedent. And this is what I've been talking about, because the SEC has multiple cases against multiple projects and exchanges, and they're just going crazy. So depending on what happens with this Ripple case in this situation, I think determines the direction of the tide and the winds and how everything will be blowing, either in favor of crypto or towards the SEC's regulation through enforcement tactics. So the Hinman documents are important to the SEC versus Ripple case, including all current and potential enforcement actions by the SEC against other crypto projects, exchanges, companies, and tokens. This is because the documents may contain comments suggesting that XRP does not satisfy all elements of the Howey Test. And I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to go over what the elements of the Howey Test are. So I found this quite interesting that they've already have predictions out regarding this case. There are predictions that there will be a 25% chance that Ripple will win an outright victory in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit versus a 5% chance of an outright win by the SEC. I'm not really sure how they got that information, but we'll just have to see. I don't think anyone knows at this point. The release of the Hinman documents could shed light on the SEC's views on crypto, especially as the SEC pursues its case against Ripple. The entire crypto industry is closely watching this case over whether XRP is a security. This is because it could set a legal precedent which could affect the entire industry. This ruling could affect Ripple's fair notice defense, and the court could issue a summary judgment ruling soon. Some suggest that the court may even announce it before 30th September 2023. Therefore, the release of the Hinman documents could have an impact on the crypto market and XRP holders. And I'm going to tell you what kind of an impact it's had thus far. And if you find value in any of these videos, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. It's a small click for you, but it's a big deal for me. So let's talk about what factors make up the Howey Test of what constitutes a security. All right, so we have four criteria, or there's four criteria that make up the Howey Test. So the first one is investment of money. So whenever you're investing money into something, it would be considered, which is pretty much anything, a security. Now, by the way, all four of these have to be met for something to be considered a security. There needs to be a common enterprise, which basically means that everyone is pooling their money in this specific thing. So let's say, for example, stock. You, I, our grandmother, our aunt, friends we know can all invest into this common enterprise, which would allow us to have the expectation of profit, which is the third criteria on the Howey Test. When we're investing in something, we are expecting a profit. There's an expectation of profit. Now, I'm going to be honest with you here. The majority of cryptos, I believe, fall into these three categories. Investment of money into a common enterprise with an expectation of profit. Where it gets dicey is the last one, which is through the efforts of others, through the efforts of whoever is in charge. So for example, a management team, founders, board of directors, where it's on basically their backs. You're just investing the money and it's up to a centralized, identifiable person or persons that are doing the work to create this expectation of profit. This is where the majority of, or what I feel, this is where the big issue comes into play with a lot of cryptos. Bitcoin, it was created and nothing's been done. It's the community. Ethereum can be said for the same thing. There is a lot of projects out there that are absolutely not securities. Why? Because it's not on the in the hands of others, a main force. It's us. We have the voting power. We're, as Mr. Hinman said, sufficiently decentralized, which is basically what these documents. All really that he was said was that these documents it could morph. That it was ETH was sufficiently decentralized. So these are the four criteria. Again, investment of money into a common enterprise with an expectation of profit through the efforts of others, through the efforts of, as I said, a board of directors or some central identifiable body. Right now, there's so much regulatory ambiguity that and the SEC and lawmakers, they have no idea. They are making blanket, and they, meaning I'm using collectively, but in this case the SEC is making blanket charges that everything is a security. When how do you have all the time and energy and resources to dive into these hundreds and thousands of crypto projects to determine if they are securities? This is where it comes to regulation through enforcement. Ripple is like a payment service. And so XRP is attached to Ripple. It's not part of it. It's like that's the token. Ripple is the company, so it's a payment company. So they're putting both of them together. So Ripple, XRP is the token that runs that. So this is why you hear Ripple, XRP. What's the difference? Ripple's the company, XRP is the token. Awaited Hinman documents have finally been unsealed, a move that some believe could play a crucial role in the ongoing legal battle between the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and Ripple. Ripple is being sued by the securities regulator for an allegedly illicit sale of $1.3 billion worth of XRP, a cryptocurrency the SEC is treating as a security. Ripple has fought hard to get these documents into court record, which supposedly show the agency is unfairly targeting the company. CEO Brad Garlinghouse yesterday said the document dump was worth the wait. While not everyone is convinced the newly released files prove Ripple's claims, the hundreds of internal messages from SEC higher-ups do show the SEC has never really been clear on whether and how to regulate the cryptocurrencies that were created after Bitcoin. It all started in 2018, when then director of the SEC's Corporate Finance Division, William Hinman, gave a speech at a Yahoo Summit, where he argued that either ETH or native token of the Ethereum blockchain could not be classified as a security, essentially because the network had become sufficiently decentralized. The public speech was based on Hinman's understanding of the Ethereum network at the time, and although Ripple is arguing that XRP is not a security, the company does not view Hinman's thinking in particularly helpful. Instead of arguing on similar grounds that XRP has decentralized, over time, Ripple is trying to argue that Hinman's theory was not grounded in a proper understanding of securities law. So what I think they're doing here is they're trying to create some confusion. They're trying to show, hey, they don't even know what they're talking about. How can they regulate something that they're not even sure about? So creating doubt. In short, Ripple fought to see these documents and then fight to release them to the public. Because they sowed discord, Garlinghouse said, it's absolutely unconscionable that Hinman gave his speech despite the lack of, here it comes, consensus agreement within the SEC, adding that the speech deliberately created confusion. And I think that's where Ripple is really focusing. Not so much what he said, like specifically, but the confusion, the miscommunication, misunderstanding that it's caused. That's, I think, where they're headed with this. For months, the SEC, now run by Chairman Gary Gensler, has fought to keep the Hinman documents out of the public eye, of course, because his statements were his and his alone, did not represent the agency's understanding and are irrelevant to the lawsuit, it argued. And this is really no surprise. This is the go-to from Chair Gensler. He did it when he was speaking in front of Congress, where he kept saying, these views are my own and this is my thoughts. When you're speaking in an official capacity, you're representing the company. You're representing the organization that you work for. If I'm not bringing you in to talk about your feelings, and I want to know what your expert opinion is on a particular topic on your professional basis. This is like passing the buck. And so this, to me, in my view, is another tactic by Chair Gensler to, again, distance himself and also cast shade on, well, speaking for himself and not, the views of the company. But he was communicating at a Yahoo Summit. They weren't there talking about, hey, I went on vacation last month with my family. They were talking about what's going on with cryptocurrency. We're going to find out what the outcomes will be, and that may not be known for a while yet. We're seeing a cooling off. Again, Ripple was up briefly yesterday due to the news, and then we're down almost 5%. And I think, in my opinion, that is because there wasn't anything really concrete that really showed definitive proof that, yes, this is why, because it was all kind of ambiguous. Sufficiently decentralized, what does that even mean? There's no reference, there's no sort of framework to what that essentially means. So my gut feeling on this is that it's still up in the air. There really wasn't anything, there wasn't any bombshells that I'm aware of that maybe I missed in regard to the Hinman documentation being released. I think this may or may not have an impact on the case. If anything, it raises confusion, and that'll be good for the Ripple attorneys and for their case. And we'll see if those predictions were true, like 25% Ripple will win, 5% that the SEC will win. I don't know. I don't think anyone does. I think that's why we're seeing the drop in Ripple today as I'm doing this video. So we're just going to have to see how the days and weeks play out. I do believe that a decision will be made sooner than later. I think the time frame of like end of September, I think is accurate. That's what I was saying too. I was thinking that, okay, probably September, maybe October the latest, but I think this will be decided before the fall, and we'll see. But this is a huge case. It has huge implications for not only Ripple, but also for the crypto industry as a whole, because this will affect every single case going forward that the SEC decides to enforce, and also cases that they have going on now. And we're just going to have to see. If Ripple wins their case, if the outcome is favorable to Ripple, it not only helps Ripple and XRP, it will help the entire crypto market, because it will change the landscape of how everyone is viewing cryptocurrency. Everyone, I mean by the SEC and also by Congress, because now there's a precedent set. So I think it'll be a lot harder for the SEC to just come in and, again, run rimshot through these crypto tokens and exchanges, and just, it'll make them have to really reevaluate who they take on. So I hope everyone has a great day. I will see you guys again this evening, 7:30 live stream. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video.